Hi, everyone. So, I have a new product for you to partake in, one that I'm going to share with you, and that is Be Believe. So, Be Believe in the power of playful learning. So, dive into the world of wonder with Be Believe's rich collection of animations, catchy songs, playful coloring pages, hands on activity sheets, and engaging ebooks. Each element is thoughtfully crafted to captivate young minds while reinforcing positive behaviors in a fun and meaningful way. Whether your little one is watching a magical adventure, singing along, coloring their favorite character, or reading an enchanting tale, every moment is packed with joy, learning, and imagination. So if you go to our unique code, or link in order to not only support Be Believe, but also support the podcast, you can head to be-believe.com/reality2. So that's www.believe.com/reality2. So that is REALITEATWO. And the link is also in the show notes where you can also link to that. So head on over to Be Believe with our unique code link, and you can unleash good behavior through enchanting tales, where imagination and good behavior unite. Thank you, Be Believe, for supporting this podcast. Now, back to the show. Patreon going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there, so you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier, and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we're going to be discussing Love is Blind, episode 8, I believe. So, yeah, nothing to discuss on the top of the episode. Let's just jump right in. So, episode 8, like I said, we start off with Jevin and Katisha the next day. the next day, y'all. So she asks, "How was last night? Who was there?" He says everyone was there, including Sophie. So she says, like, "Didn't you see that I was upset last night?" Okay. Do I think he should have maybe realized and read the room? Sure. But you gotta spell it out to these men. These men are stupid. You know what I mean? You need to tell him, you need to be like, "I'm upset, yo." Like, but that's not what she did. She basically said, like, "How was that conversation?" "Okay, I'm going to bed. Kiss goodnight." That doesn't make him think that everything is okay, or that everything is not okay. You know what I mean? If you are not going to express it in your words, you need to at least express it in your actions. You know what I mean? But he says no, he didn't know. And she says, "Well, I was upset about you going out." That is not the fucking truth. She wasn't just mad about him going out, which I'm sure, yes, she was mad about him going out, but it wasn't just about that. She was mad about the way he was going on with Sophie. That is what precipitated the hurt and the anger or the hurt she was feeling. So it wasn't just about him going out. That maybe exacerbated the situation, but it wasn't just about that. Because then you sound like you have an issue with him going out at all. You know what I mean? And she says, "I didn't want you to be hung over when you meet my family." Again, maybe that is partially it, but that is not the whole situation here. And she needs to be honest. I don't know why she's not being honest with him. Um, because he says as much. He's like, "Well, am I hungover?" No, he's not. So, at least he doesn't seem to be. So it's just like, you need to be honest with the issues here. Because again, personally for me, if this man carried on the way he did and decided to flirt with Sophie, that alone, I would be like, "No, we're done. We're done. We're not meeting my family. I don't want you to meet my family because we're done." Like, that's what have that's how it would have happened for me. But anyways, she says, "I'm going to trust him until he gives me a reason not to trust him." Hold my phone. Meanwhile, Meg is literally like, "Hold my phone. Hold my beer. Hold my beer." Like, seriously. But he just gave her a reason. Even without the whole what Megan will be telling her later on. He gave you a reason in front of your face at the reunion pod squad situation. That was his reason. In the words of Bill Engvall, he is a son. Are you serious? He did that that was your reason. So we're meeting her family. She has the young siblings, we can see, but her mom is here. Her name is Caroline. And she tells them that she tells them, the whole family, that he's my fiance and we're getting married in a couple of weeks. Or not. Her mom says that she wants someone who will treat her like my man treats me. That's like a queen. Well, this guy's playing her like a goddamn joker, so yikes. If you treat her well, then welcome to the family. Or not. Her mom says, "He seems like a nice boy." No. And she says the communication isn't the greatest, which we know. And she's like, "How do I communicate with him? Because, like, I'm struggling." He doesn't want you to communicate better with him. I think if he was willing to make this work and knowing the communication is the worst part of it, he would try something to make that work. And listen, I understand what she's saying here because that is a struggle I deal with my relationship. That communication isn't always an easy feat. Um, but it's not that he's not vulnerable. It's not that he's hiding something. It's just, how he's moves through life and the things that his own demons that he deals with. And I understand that. But it can still be a huge thing. But he has to let you in to kind of know the best ways to communicate or the best ways he'll respond to certain things. And he's not doing that because I don't think he cares to. That's the difference. Anyways, enough of them for now. We will come back to them. Kieran and Megan. Now, usually I don't have a lot to talk about with Kieran and Megan because they're fine. But this time I have a paragraph and it has nothing to do with them. So it turns out that one of the only other main cast member here that was at this after party was Kieran and Megan. And they say, well, we were shocked that Jevin was there alone, and also a shocker that he was flirting with pot girls. And it wasn't just Sophie that he was flirting with. He apparently was giving eyes to a new, and we do find out about others. And he took a girl into the photo booth. We don't know who the girl is yet, but we do find out. But Megan's like, I want to tell Katisha what you saw. Like, she wanted to tell her, which again, girl code. We want to keep that going. And Karen is like, Jevin is my boy. And he is my friend. And, part of me wants to stay out of it. But at the same time, he understands that Katisha does have a right to know. And she does, because what's going to happen? They're going to go up to the altar. And what if he decides to say yes? She's entering into a marriage where it starts off on a lie. And I do wonder if Kieran is kind of coming at this in such a way where he's like, I don't think he's going to marry her. So she still will dodge a bullet at the end of the day, whether we tell her or we don't. But why wait until then where we can do this now? We can end this relationship from now. So that's it for that. We'll see more in a little bit. So we move on to Sarova and Cal. So he's meeting her mom and her sister. I didn't catch their names. Her mom is stunning, by the way. She looks just like her mom. Wow, she's beautiful. But her mom has been texting quite a bit. Quite a bit. Maybe borderline harassment, by the sounds of it. So we're there at the point now where they're meeting her family. And she asks, why my daughter? And he says that he wants to have a family with her. This beautiful lady. Good work, by the way. No. No. I literally am like, what did I miss? I had to rewind it and I'm like, you didn't just say that. And I kid you not, after he did, the tension that came over this table was thick. Okay. Anything this man was saying, I mean, personally, I don't remember what he was saying because I was bringing the table. Okay. This thick tension, and everything he is saying is just falling on deaf ears because they literally just heard him say, good work, by the way. What the fuck? I mean, I know he doesn't mean any ill will. I know he's nervous, but I'm just like, my guy, you could have just maybe not said that. But I think Zorova changes things and makes us a lot better because she says to her mom, I need you to trust me. Like, do you not trust me? Trust that I know what I'm doing. You raised me well, kind of thing. And she's like, when I dated before, I dated with everyone else in mind. In a sense, dating with my head, not with my heart. So everyone else is being satisfied by her choices. Meanwhile, maybe she's not fully content with her choices. But I think that kind of helps softens things. The blow of, good work, by the way, or whatever he said, kind of softens a little bit because our family's on board. That was easy. No, it wasn't easy, I'm sure. But yeah, they're on board. We're still gonna be fine. So Ashley and Billy, we are in Northern Ireland. meeting his mom and his sister. I didn't quite catch the mom's name. I think it kind of it was like Margem or Mark. I'm probably so way off, but the sister name is Casey, so that was easy. He tells his sister that he is scared and he is nervous about her job. So he has not gone over it. Even though they talked about it in the pods, he hasn't gone over that. And he says that he wants stability in his life. And you're not always promised that with cabin crew. And that's fair. Like you're not always promised that. And I get that. Um, but you guys also talked about this. And I thought that maybe you guys have somewhat resolved this or at least feel a little more content. And clearly that's not the case. More on that later. Jen and Barda, we are checking out his place and what will potentially be her future place, apparently, as well. Spoiler alert. She's meeting his parents. His mom was a little more cautious about this process, maybe for good reason. It's so quick, she says. She's like, have you argued? No, not yet. No argument yet, but wait for it. There will be one. And his mom does say, like, that's not normal. No, it's not normal. It's not normal. None of this is normal. But again, like, how many fights could you possibly have in 8 weeks or whatever? That's like, oh my God, I mean, it's possible. But like, it's, this is a different situation. Like, were you, like, again, like, I've known my boyfriend for 8 years. We fought and we know how we handle ourselves, right? We get through things. E- I would feel comfortable marrying him under those circumstances because we know what we're getting ourselves into. You don't know that after 8 weeks, not fully, right? But this is a very different experiment. And she says, like, I'm not, Barda says, like, I'm not an argumentative person. And, she also does take this seriously and she's not going to enter into anything without um, being sure. So we respect that. Let's move on to the meat and potatoes of this episode. My God, you guys, this is going to be so good. Megan and Katisha. So what's happening now? And Katisha says, like, I was upset that he did go out. No, you're not. It's not the only reason. It's not the only reason. We already hashed it out and I don't need to say it again. Megan says, well, I'm not going to lie. I did not appreciate how he was acting. And she's like, oh no, what happened? And she says, well, he went straight to Sophie. He talked to her for a long time. And then he also took her to the photo booth. But I mean, I personally did not see a photo. So then why are you going into the photo booth, my guy? With apparently the curtain closed. Like, why did you do that? What did you do? We're about to get his really stupid answer as to why he did that in a little bit. I think it might even be the next episode, but when was this episode? I don't remember. Oh, it had to be this episode. So yeah, I'm just like, fuck, like, what? Like, why? Um, then he started talking to Yolanda, and they were talking to Anu, but what made it worse is he said to Megan and maybe Kieran, Yolanda makes me happy. Anu makes me happy. Katisha makes me happy. He basically just wasn't acting like you were his fiance. You know what it reminded me of? First of all, you're basically saying that I could fuck this girl, that girl, that girl. They all make me happy anyway. So, like, what the hell? But it literally sounds like a little bit of Monica in my life, a little bit of Erica by my side, a little bit of Tina is all I need, a little bit of Trina is what I see, a little bit of Sandra in Sun, a little bit of Mary all night long, a little bit of Jessica, here I am, a little bit of you makes me your man. But seriously, that's what it sounds like. Like, listen, y'all, okay, how old are you? Because I remember this. Who remembers Lou Bega go- going on one of the award shows? I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the award shows with two old ladies. That shit was amazing. I was like, what, 8? But I remember it so vividly. It was so weird. Um, Anyways, but it kinda gives me those vibes, and I'm just like, "Oh, girl, this is not a man you marry. This is not a man you marry." And Khadijah's like, he gets mad about me saying, like, "You don't know my character." But, sir, this is your character. The character you show her in front of her face is not you. That's a facade. That ain't you. This is you. And he's like, you came here to get married, not chase tail. Well, true. But maybe this guy did. Maybe this guy came to play games. He wasn't taking any of this seriously. And she's like, I thought that I was the bad guy. And Megan says, but why do you think that? Well, because that's what's been perpetrated, especially from Cal initially, um, where it's like, I chose him over Demola, and I chose him over that, and after I kinda made it seem like I was going to blah, 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 but sure, you didn't go with Demola and you chose this fucking guy, but that doesn't make you a bad guy. That makes you human. We're all human. We all see ourselves a little bit in Khadijah. I've been Khadijah. Sure, you've been Khadijah. We've all been Khadijah, you know? We've all been there. Hopefully, most of us are still not there, but we've all been there. And Megan says, which is 100% true, he's playing on that. He's playing on that, which then makes him think he gets a pass to be an asshole to her. That is not a husband. That is does not. But then Katisha heads on over back to her place. She immediately goes in on packing, and he's there. He comes downstairs, which I didn't know they had stairs, but he comes downstairs and sees her, and he's like, "What's going on?" And she says, "I'm going home." And she lays it all out to him, everything that Megan told him, and he's trying to deny it all, deny. So he's, all men are taught to deny, and that's what he is doing. It's like the comment he made about Yolanda makes me happy, Anu makes me happy, Khadijah makes me happy. He he says that he basically said like what is he talking about? Like he's denying he said that. And he says, "What do you believe?" Because again, he is playing on her insecurities, makes him the worst person imaginable. But he's playing on her insecurities to be like, believe me, they're lying to you. They don't got your best interest in heart. But again, it's like, what is your end goal here? Why? This is your way out. Oh my God, isn't that what you want? Because I don't think he wants to marry her. So here's your way out. Or is this about screen time? Like, what's going on here? And she says, like, I don't know. And she says, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Please, God, no. But at the same time, like, why would Megan lie? Because Megan wouldn't lie. She doesn't have a leg in this race. She's looking out for you. And because she doesn't have a leg in the race, she's the one you should believe in. So she says she does not want to talk to him again. This is the next day. She doesn't want to talk to him again. So she is writing a note basically saying, fuck you. Fuck you very much. Um, but and she's leaving. And she is leaving without him knowing, which I think is boss move. And that is the best way to do it. So he comes back later, reads her note, and he just you can tell he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. And he rips up the note, which I could take this two ways. Either he rips the note because he doesn't care, which I think that's definitely it. But I think it could also be that maybe he's like, no one needs to read this, so I'm just gonna rip it up. Um, who knows? But he says he's pissed off. But the thing is that I don't think he's necessarily pissed off that she left. And not in a, I don't say that in a way that he's like, oh, she's looking up for herself. No, he's not pissed off that she left. Pissed off in the sense of, I don't care. It wasn't gonna work out anyways, I don't care. That's what I think. He is more pissed off that his character has been questioned. So he's pissed off about Megan, as he says, quote unquote, lying. She's not lying. And he's like, I know what happened, and I have people to corroborate. Who they? Who are they? Call him. Call him. I want to hear from those people. And he's like, so um, let's get Karen and let's get Megan and let's hash this out. Okay. Jevin then decides later on, it's probably the next day, that the person he can say can corroborate his story is fucking Patrick, aka Spleen Guy. I don't trust him. I don't trust Patrick. I don't trust Patrick at all. You need to do better with your corroborations. That ain't it. I don't trust the word this man says. Try again. If you don't succeed, you try again with someone else. But Patrick says, if you spent the time with me and Demila, then get me Demila. Get me Demila. I want to hear from him. He is the only person that I would trust because at the end of the day, his care and support is going to go towards Katisha. I don't think he would have necessarily said something to her. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know because I do wonder if like why he didn't say anything to Katisha, but maybe he later on, maybe he did. We don't know because Megan got her to her real quick. So we don't know if maybe he would have said something to her later on. Maybe he thought this is not my business. I'm not going to get involved. There's many different things that could have happened and why he didn't say something. But who I do want to hear from is Demila. And what I find interesting is that we don't see a conversation between him and Demila. Because I don't think Demila would have corroborated his story. But you know what? It doesn't even matter because we'll get to Kieran later. So she's like, this is what Patrick says, Spleen Guy. She clearly values other people's opinions, even over the opinions of like you or even herself. Like, don't let her bring you on a low vibration. Shut the fuck up. Listen, I want to hear more from Demila, as I said, not Patrick. So make that happen, but apparently not. So that's it for now. Just a quick thing with Kyle and Sarova after the meeting of the mom and sister. They're out for dinner. They're good. They're gonna be fine. Then we move on to Ashley and Billy. Y'all guys, buckle up. This is woof. He tells her while on the beach, this beautiful setting, I'm on the fence. And she was not expecting to hear that, and neither was I. He's like, it's scary for him that this could go pear-shaped in 6 months if the jobs don't align. You got to give it longer than 6 months, though, my guy. You really do. You need to give it more time than 6 months. You need to at least get past that first year, maybe a year and a half, to see how things are going, because that first year of marriage can be rough. You need to give it a little more time than 6 months. I'm just saying. But he asked, like, would you just jump in like that? Like, what if your answer is no? I feel like he's trying to get her to think that way because he wants to say no. Because why else would you say that? Wouldn't you not want her to be for sure? Like, why wouldn't you not want that? Which then makes me think that he's not sure and he needs to either A, feel better about his decision, about himself, or like he's just looking for a way out. Like, I don't know. This is weird. But she says, like, um, I'm 100% yes. And she's frustrated that her job, yet again, is in the way of her finding her happiness. And it should not have to be like that. And she says she does not want to do that again. Totally get it. I feel bad for her. More on that a little bit later because when we do get to the next episode, um, one of her sisters does say something that I do want to elaborate more on, but that'll be the next episode. Jevin, Megan, and Kieran. So he wants to clear his mind, and he's like, I'm sure you know that Katisha is not here, and that's based on what you told her, Megan. She says, like, I didn't see you with anyone else. I saw you with Sophie. I saw you with Yolanda. I saw you with Anu. That's what I saw you with. And um, he's like, well, how do you know? Did you see me with anybody else? Like, how would you know? And she's like, well, I wasn't staring at you the entire night. Like, I was enjoying myself, as well. And he's like, well, see, because if you're enjoying yourself, like, you clearly weren't watching me that hard, sir, sir. Kieran says, I saw you go into the photo booth, and I did see that the curtain was closed. There you go. I trust Kieran. So if Kieran is saying that, Kieran who sees that's like they're supposed to be pretty close, I trust Kieran 100%. 100%. And of course, Jevin's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? The photo booth wasn't working. There was no curtain. It was an open thing, photo booth. That is not how photo booths work. Photo booths are usually a closed thing with a curtain and you take photos. Don't sit here and try to say that it was an open thing. We're gonna get in. I think it does mention it here. Maybe I missed it, but they said, okay, so then why did you go into the photo booth with Sophie? First, he gives this is weird. There's two different answers that get brought up in the situation, and I'm like, okay, which is it? The first one is they were trying to relive the pod experience. Okay, for anyone who's been inside a photo booth, knows what a photo booth looks like. You can't redo pod experience while in a photo booth together. You know what I mean? That defeats the purpose of recreating the pod experience. So that doesn't make any fucking sense. Number two, he says that they were arguing outside of the photo booth first, and then they went into the photo booth to continue the fight because they didn't want to fight in front of everybody else. So they went into the photo booth and continued fighting there. But that too doesn't make full sense to me. Because what were you fighting about? Now, on the one hand, I can maybe believe there was some sort of disagreement because he does go from Sophie to Yolanda to Anu. Now, that doesn't mean anything. He could have been putting his feelers out there. Maybe Sophie left, and that's why he went to go talk with Anu and Yolanda. So it could be that too. But what I just don't understand is why you would have an argument. Again, people who've seen a photo booth, it is pretty small quarters. Who wants to argue at a photo booth? Who really wants? Usually, if you are fighting in a photo booth, you'll come out of said photo booth to continue the fight. You don't go into a photo booth to do the fight. It's just, why is there a photo booth in the club? I'm missing the biggest question here. But anyways, and then that's not operational, as he says. But anyways, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Here's what I think happened, okay? He went into the photo booth with Sophie in order to make out with her clearly. And even if an argument did start outside of the photo booth, I think it's a ruse. I don't think it's true. I think it's a ruse for them to quote unquote go into the photo booth so that they could make out in the photo booth where no one's going to see them, nothing. Okay, I have something I want to say. These friggin' after parties need to be friggin' recorded. I need it to be recorded. I need there to be a hidden camera in this goddamn photo booth that no one knows is there. This is bullshit. Sick of this shit. Anyways, at the end of the day, though, Kieran says, I saw what Megan saw. And Megan says, you're with Yolanda, you're with Anu, and you basically said to us that you would fuck Sophie. So then that does not, can we go back to the photo booth for a minute? That doesn't make sense because you said that you had an argument with Sophie and you went into the photo booth to continue this argument with Sophie, and clearly it didn't pan out as you wanted to. So then why would you then continue to still want to have sex with her? But my original theory of y'all made out in the photo booth, that makes me think that makes me think that's what actually happened for you to still think you want to have sex with this woman. Like, you know what I mean? But of course, he denies that he said that, which I don't believe him, so it doesn't matter what he says. And Megan, as I just said, Megan says, I don't care that you don't believe it because it happened. I don't care that you want to deny it because it happened. And she says, bye, Jevin. Have a nice life. See you never. And she walks away and she goes out to the balcony and she starts crying because she's like, I have dealt with a Jevin. We have all dealt with a Jevin. And we know what it looks like to be gaslit, manipulated. We all know what that feels like. And this is what this fucking guy is doing. And he's willing to manipulate, gaslight, and everyone in his path in order to make sure that he still looks like the better guy in the equation. He sucks. He sucks. He's absolutely delusional. And he says that the easiest thing was to stay home, but you didn't do that. Says you went out. And the reason you went out is because you knew deep down that Sophie was going to be there. That's why you went out. And here's the thing. When Katisha asked him whether or not he knew she was upset and he said no, I actually don't believe that either. I think he did know. And I think he didn't care. And I think it actually worked in his favor because none of that would have happened if Katisha was there. And he was banking on that. This guy's full of shit and he's dangerous. Um, he says, oh, sorry, I ended up saying that he did her a service. And eventually he would have done this anyways, whether it was tonight or another night. And he took that a million steps further. This was always going to happen. This was always going to end this way. It's just better that it did before she married him. But of course, he wants to blame her, Katisha, for the reason that it didn't work out. Because Denila and because, she took off instead of just having a conversation about it. Like, well, fuck you. Have a conversation about what? Because, like, it would have just panned in your favor anyways. She would have been manipulated to stay with you. He sucks. He sucks. I can't wait to get to the reunion now. I'm almost done episode 10. So, or just like kind of to start episode 10, but I had to find out what happened. And so at the end of episode 9 into episode 10, I had to know what happened. So I had to. So anyways, but I cannot wait to get to the reunion because I want to see this man get torn apart. But anyways, that is it, guys. That is it for this episode. We'll be back with the next one, which will be episode 9, and probably 10 will be in one episode. So that will be that one. But that is it, guys. That is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And Don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's with that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.